Perfect. So what I want you to do first is, if you're sat down and you're able to, stand up, stop sitting on your asses. You've been sitting down watching us for far too long. So stand up, take a breath of fresh air, because what I want you to do is think about Darwin's paradox. Wiggle your toes a little bit. You are Darwin. You're standing on a beach. You've got a couple of pigs and a parrot behind you. The island's pretty sparse. It's April the 4th, 1836. It's the Indian Ocean. If you go further out into the ocean, there's a couple of sharks and a swordfish, but what's actually in front of you is the coral reef. And the amazing thing about the coral reef is it's 1% of the entire marine environment, but actually it's 25% of all marine life. The reason I'm talking about this is because the constant battering of the reef creates change, it creates diversity. And when we talk about diversity, a lot of the time we just say, got a woman in the team. But that's not diversity. Diversity is moral stance, health, experience, gender, color, age, expectations, goals, introverts, extroverts. So what I wanted to talk about was diversity, but then I realized we should be speaking about sort of COVID, unity, bringing us together. So I'm going to skip this slide. And what a lot of us are doing at the moment is sitting down and looking at our phones. I love my phone. Everyone that knows me, I've always got my phone on me. Basically, this is because it gives us bright pseudo dings of pleasure. It sort of like pops our cortisol, pops that dopamine. You think we want food, sex, and drugs, but we don't really. We just want to scroll on Instagram. So what I want to do is think about how can we leverage diversity to get stuff on our phones and actually still get that pop of cortisol and dopamine. So I asked a lot of different people in the lockdown, how do you make yourself happy? I asked people from Brazil, people from Sweden, introverts, extroverts, a couple of cat dads, and this was their answers. So number one, smile. Somebody said it was like inner jogging. So smile, laugh. Actually, the thing with smiling is, even if you just go, there's something in your muscles that actually makes you feel like you're actually smiling. Have a look at Shauna Kaur. He speaks about this a lot. Actual jogging. Go out and do some exercise. Carlos, a Brazilian student, Yash, a regular solid guy from India, Katie, an introverted witch gamer from Cornwall, all spoke quite heavily about going out into nature, going and exercising, sort of getting yourself out. The most interesting thing is how people actually explained themselves. Write a love letter. So this came from Kristen, an extrovert Swede, and Victoria, an easily amused Australian. One said, write a love letter to somebody else, so connect with somebody else, or write a love letter to yourself. Tell yourself that you're wonderful. You are. Because the thing with writing these love letters, these stories is we're actually all inside got that inner monkey. We're nitpicking. It's our version. Telling stories is our version of grooming each other. It's sharing stories. It's grooming, not gossip. It's building those bonds of trust by telling each other stories and bonding. That's where we get those pops of cortisol and dopamine. The phone keeps you going back for more. It doesn't get that opioid out. It's like having a sort of really quick snack. When you actually bond and tell stories, it pops out the opioid and it makes you feel full and satisfied. And then the oxytocin kicks in, which promotes pro-social empathetic behavior. So that's basically, you like talking to each other and you want to do nice things. My mum, who's 75, Taylor, a 19-year-old Cornish girl, Ben and Mark, the cat fathers, all talked about active listening and actually really, really listening to somebody. Pick the phone up, actually speak to them. You don't need to be on a Zoom call. If I need another Zoom call, I don't need that. And at this point, I like to tell a story. I'm going to sort of get you to empathize with me. So bad decisions make great stories. This is a story of me getting dumped again. I like to tell these if you've been to my talks before. So I was 14, I was sat on the back of the bus. I've got mascara pouring down my face. My boyfriend is holding my hand. He's basically just dumped me. And in between the gasps of snot and tears, I go, but why don't you love me? And he looks at me and he smiles and he goes, oh, I never loved you. So keep telling stories. And when you're alone, because as I was alone then, give yourself a helping hand. One thing that people don't sort of give enough credit to is wanking. You can do it on your own. It gives out the dopamine, the cortisol, when you climax, you get better sleep. Nobody cares if you roll over. And also for the ladies on their periods, it gets out the opiates, which is like basically Nurofen for your brain. Devika spoke about dancing. Dancing nobody's watching because they aren't. The Cornish witch said, go out like nobody's asking, because nobody is asking. And finally, not having to chit chat to colleagues was a very, very popular one, and actually getting stuff done, which came from Radina from Bulgaria. Finally, I think the one that was most popular, and Marcos, a Brazilian father of 3, and Jem, who was 3.5, both said chocolate. Basically, chocolate releases endorphins, it sort of stimulates the brain. Marcos actually said, eat dark chocolate so you don't get too overweight in this sort of climate. Okay, so popping on, again, moving back, all of these things pop out your cortisol, your dopamine, it gives you that opioid sort of release and gives you that sort of really nice behavior. Why am I talking about this? The reason I'm talking about this is we've been given a very, very simple job. Most of us, if we're not key workers, have been told to sit at home on our sofas and just stay inside. The thing is, if we keep ourselves happy, the positive emotions broaden the thought, actions, and our repertoires. And by that, it makes you feel good and you want to help others. It makes you be more innovative. And what I've seen, which is one of the things that I think is how to spread the love, is look at the diverse people around you, look at what they're doing, take heed of those people that you might not usually. Kids are spreading positivity through the rainbows that they're posting into windows. 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds should be influencing us. Speak to loads and loads of different people. And as the UN briefing says, kindness is contagious. Thank you.